What's the best Christmas movie of all time? The original Grinch Who Stole Christmas, animation. It's fun, charming, memorable, and it's done in 30 minutes. It's the best option for a yearly Christmas watch. Isn't that the one where Thurl Ravenscroft sings "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch"? In Italy, it's a tradition to watch it on Christmas Eve. I have been watching it since 1997, and every year at Christmas Eve it's broadcasted on one of the biggest channels here. Muppet Family Christmas. All the Muppets go to visit Fozzie's grandma for Christmas, the Sesame Street crew get lost in a snowstorm, and end up there. Kermit and his nephew go visit Fraggle Rock. Oh, and the Swedish chef wants to cook Big Bird as the Christmas turkey. Just my absolute favorite. It's on YouTube for everyone to enjoy. A Muppet Family Christmas, 1987. It's a fantastic Christmas film, gets hidden away on Netflix, because of all the new Christmas stuff they have to bring out every year. But since it came out it's become my tradition to watch it during the holidays. It's so lovely. Same, it's my favorite Christmas movie, and I watch it every year now. Literally already a legendary Christmas movie, can't wait for it to age like fine wine. What a fucking beautiful move. Eyeball. My wife and I are coming up on year 3 of trying to have children, and 2 miscarriages later it hits so damn hard. Love this movie to death regardless. Jingle All the Way. Hear me out, you have 1. Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a man named Howard Langston while using an Austrian accent. 2. Jake Lloyd pre Anakin Skywalker. 3. The late and beloved Phil Hartman playing a single father ladies man. 4. Arnold fighting black market Santa Clauses, including mini-me actor Vern Troyer. 5. A fake bomb threat, followed by an actual post office bomb, which explodes and is never mentioned again. 6. The greatest line reading ever, "Put that cookie down." 7. Arnold being Iron, Turbo, Man 10 years prior to RDJ and the start of the Marvel trend. 8. Arnold stealing his neighbor's gift, fighting a reindeer, who discovers him in the house, accidentally starting a fire, ending with kicking a flaming head, from the nativity scene through a window towards a bunch of Christmas carolers. A fake bomb threat, followed by an actual post office bomb which explodes, and is never mentioned again. My favorite part. Sinbad, that was actually a bomb? This is a sick world, with sick people. The way he delivers that line is priceless. And Arnold running down the street shouting Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donaire, Blitzen. It's the only way. I remember all of the reindeer, obviously in his accent. The greatest line reading ever, "Put that cookie down." That's where you're wrong. The greatest line reading ever is "I am not a pervert." Also from Jingle All the Way. This is hands down my favorite Christmas movie. It's just so good. The flaming head of Balthazar being punted into the group of carolers kills me every year. R.I.P. Phil Hartman. Also, Kid says I named the reindeer Ted after my dad. Then later, Arnold calls, Kid answers. When asked where the mother is, she's outside petting Ted. She's what? 100% though I am very upset that you did not include the perfect postal postman, as portrayed by post-Shazam Sinbad. Came here to say, why is Sinbad not on the list of awesome? I watch this film every year. There is one bit that I think is a directing misstep, but I enjoy it with a malicious glee, and that's when the parcel bomb goes off. At this point the movie has been reasonably straight with the physics. Cartoon physics have not been established at all. That's a big explosion that happens in the distance. It takes out half a floor of a building. To first-time viewers those cops got turned into bloody strips of meat and bone fragments. It's easy to remember all of Santa's reindeer, now thanks to Arnold repeating endlessly, while running to the radio station in comedic Arnold fashion. I can hear it in Arnold's voice: Lol, Dasha, Danza, Pranka, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Dunda, Blixen. Scrooged. The blend of comedy and heartbreak, the pacing, the performances. Top tier. It's awesome. First movie that Murray made after Ghostbusters was a huge hit, like 4 years later. It also has 3 of Murray's 5 brothers. I always have to remind myself that it wasn't directed by Tim Burton. The Danny Elfman soundtrack throws me off. Edit, wrong number of Murray brothers. I like how the sequel to this was called Angels with Even Filthier Souls. You can tell that none of the Home Alone movies after 2 should exist, because none of them feature angels with the filthiest souls. I just think of them as non-canon. And they aren't, really. Home Alone 3 is about a completely different family. Then Home Alone 4 brings back Kevin McAllister, but it's a different cast, and it was straight to TV. Then the two after that were basically spin-offs. Those movies are amazing, and made even more so by John Williams' epic soundtrack. How they got him for those movies is beyond me, but they wouldn't be the same without his score. I don't know why he decided to write a fucking fugue when Kevin is setting up traps, but I do know that scene wouldn't be anywhere near as good without it. The soundtrack alone makes them the best Christmas movies to me. They are genuinely amazing pieces of music, and some of them are part of my favorite Christmas songs ever. Songs like Christmas Star sound like classic Christmas songs, while they are in fact just made for this movie. John Williams is a genius. Where I live, our symphony does a viewing of this movie, but they play all the classical music. So fun. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, 1970, with songs like The First Toymakers to the King, No More Toymakers to the King, Be Prepared to Pay aka If You Sit on My Lap Today, and the greatest Christmas song of all time, Put One Foot in Front of the Other. That movie is full of bangers, but I think The Year Without a Santa Claus takes the cake with Heat Miser, Cold Miser. I was sad that I had to search through sub-comments to find The Year Without a Santa Claus, 1974, mentioned. It is my favorite. But I am old. You didn't even mention a villain with the greatest name of all time, Burgermeister Meisterburger. Muppet Christmas Carol. I went to see A Muppets Christmas Carol 2 nights ago, at the iconic Hammersmith Apollo in London, with a full orchestra performing the score along with the film. It was magical. Any telling of A Christmas Carol, I will always compare to this, and they all fall somewhat short. This film inspired me to read Dickens' original. Despite the Muppetism, it's one of the most accurate retellings with not only scenes, but text and narration direct from the original text. Following Jim Henson's death in 1990, his son, Brian Henson, was approached to make the film, so, for me, it was a torch-passing moment. The movie is dedicated to both Henson and puppeteer Richard Hunt, who died in 1992. My favorite fact about the film is that, on accepting the role, Michael Caine said to Brian Henson, "I'm going to play this movie like I'm working with the Royal Shakespeare Company. I will never wink, I will never do anything Muppety. I am going to play Scrooge as, if it is an utterly dramatic role, and there are no puppets around me. I can't think of a more perfect approach to a role in these circumstances." Genuinely, Michael Caine is the best portrayal of Scrooge on film. Captures the full depth of his character better than any other version of the story. It's the best portrayal of an iconic character, in an iconic Christmas story. So I don't care if most of the rest of the characters are felt puppets, this is the best Christmas movie. Muppets always has the most accurate book-to-movie translations. Aside from the fact that almost every character is a Muppet, Muppets Treasure Island only has one difference from the book to the movie, and it's how they gender-swapped Benjamin Gunn so Miss Piggy could play Benjamina Gunn. Plus, Tim Curry steals the show. Michael Caine and Tim Curry were fabulous stars for opposite reasons. Michael Caine sold the story by treating it as a fully legit movie. Tim Curry sold it because he'd be damned if he got showed up by a bunch of puppets. So I don't care if most of the rest of the characters are felt puppets, I would argue that any story would be enhanced with most of the cast replaced by Muppets. Also the little rabbit at the beginning with his tiny knit gloves, and lil scarf. I cry every idiom. A Knives Out sequel with a Southern Fried Daniel Craig surrounded by Muppets would truly be the best place for that franchise to go next. Nah, just hold on a minute hair. Now, I know I'm not the most Muppet of a man here, but I do know this. Miss Piggy did not murder Kermit. No, it's much more terrible than that. I think it's in fact someone who is indeed far more rat-faced. Everyone looks at Rizzo. Oh come on, Rizzo. Michael Caine went hard in that film. He gave it his goddamn all, and it makes it even better it's a Muppet movie. But there's nothing in nature that freezes your heart like the years of being alone. The other day I saw an ad for yet another Christmas Carol movie, and yelled I don't see why they keep making these, the Muppets nailed it, and there will never be another that stacks up to it. I was with my partner and they thought it was hilarious. 100% this is the answer right fucking here. This is a hill I will die on. This is the first movie I watch each season, and usually at least once a week during. Michael Caine is a treasure, and he did not have to go hard, but he did and it is amazing.